Good morning, everyone. Gotta go on this side too. 3, 2, 1. There we are. Excuse me. Good morning, everyone. Treasure, are you gonna come here? She's already starting. Good morning, everyone. Today happens to be the 98th episode. Are you gonna be all crazy today? It's the 98th episode. 2 more episodes, and I'll be on my 100th celebration. 3 digits. I can't believe that. Like, have I been doing this for that long now? But I'm trying to get into the routine where I'm here every day. I've had some appointments, I've had this and that. On Friday I have another appointment that I have to go. Good morning, Paige. Welcome to the show. So, as long as the way I look at it is, as long as I come in, even if it's to check in, to say a prayer, to read a little bit. But today I have some time, so I don't have any pressing things. Uh, his daughter's here today, so she has homeschooling, so she's going to be busy homeschooling. And aside from giving lots of attention to this little one right here, I think I could devote some time to reading today, which is going to be good, right? Are you going to be all? I don't know. Yesterday, if anybody was in the show yesterday, she was sitting over here and I was reading, and all of a sudden I started reading, and she went. And I'm like, what's the matter? Everybody thought she was sick or something. I'm like, she's not sick. She was throwing a temper tantrum. So, so I don't know why she's throwing a temper tantrum. But anyway, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's having a bright, blessed morning. It is, what is today? Today's Wednesday, right? It is Wednesday. Okay, we're going to get you down. It's Wednesday. What do they call this? Midweek hump day. So it's midweek hump day. Had an interesting day yesterday. Uh, had to do my errands and stuff like that. Chris's daughter came over. We watched, maybe I shouldn't even say this, but we ended up watching the State of the Union address. And the way I look at it is no matter what side of the fence you're on, it shouldn't matter if you're left or right, Democrat, Republican, anything like that. The fact is, it is a speech given by our president that is going to determine what the state of the economy is. It was also a time to do some uh, what do you call it? Not recommendations, where they give awards. So they're giving out awards to people as well. But you know something? I feel like, just from an outside perspective, if you're watching politics from a person who really doesn't care about politics, it's interesting because it almost makes you want to know. It's like, okay, why isn't one side applauding? Why is the other side applauding at every single thing? Um, why are certain people rolling their eyes? Why are other ones causing an uproar? I mean, they even had one guy who was holding a sign that had to get kicked out. At first, I didn't see what the sign said when I was watching the TV, but I had to look on it later on. Okay, what did his sign say that he got kicked out? But it's little things, and I was laughing at Chris because I said, Chris, watch everybody. Like, don't just watch what is being said. Watch how the camera angle pans in on certain people. Watch how you'll see facial expressions, how certain things will happen. I mean, I literally felt bad for this one guy. Towards the end, the president was leaving. And all he wanted to do was to shake the president. He's like, Mr. President, Mr. President. And he's holding out his hand. And the president's just completely ignoring him. And Secret Service is like pushing him back, like, yo, dude. And he's like, but Mr. President, Mr. And I felt so bad because it's like this guy was like, all he wanted to do was to shake his hand. And he was just totally ignored and then pushed aside. And it's like, okay, as silly as that seems, those are the type of things that I look at. Like, I don't necessarily watch what I watch everything. I guess that's me being an overthinker, and but it's like I really, really felt bad for the guy, and I'm like, he just wanted to like shake the hand or say, because I mean, Trump is big. I mean, he'll do like selfies, he'll do pictures, he'll shake your hand, he'll hug you, he'll do those things. And this one guy just wanted like Mr. President, can I shake? They pushed him out of the way. But those are the things that I like look at. I look at like what people are wearing. I mean, like I was actually surprised, which probably network television wouldn't show this, but like somebody was literally wearing a button that had profanity on it as a button, and it's like clear as day. So I'm like, okay, they definitely black that out on mainstream because that would be an what do you call it, FCC violation for having profanity on their shirt. Um, Somebody else had like a jacket that had spray paint all over it with different things. I wanted to see what it said, but of course they didn't pan in on what it said, so it probably said something really bad. But I find it interesting because, like I said, we watched it as a family. And I said that to his daughter. I says, this is important for you to watch this. And she's like, why? I says, because this is your future. This is I says, think of this as homeschooling. You're being educated. And she's like, but I don't care. I'm like, I don't care if you don't care. Watch. But it's funny because it's like I wasn't pushing an agenda on her. The only thing, hello, Beulah, my favorite Yankee, like damn Yankee. I wasn't pushing a political agenda. That's one thing that I always respect is if the kids have a different perspective or a different point of view, then the only thing I would want to know is, okay, justify it as why. Because sometimes I feel like, do kids automatically go against your opinion simply for the shock value of it? Because that's me. I'm the shock value. I used to do that to my family all the time. Whatever they would say, I would say the complete opposite just to get a rise. So a lot of times when I talk to the kids, it's like, okay, I would love to know your position. And I give them respect. I let them hear exactly what they said in this and that. And the thing about yesterday, it was the big thing is like, I don't care about politics. There's nothing to care about. And I'm like, why don't you care about? And she's like, well, this is boring. Like, why should I care about this? This doesn't affect me. And I'm like, but it affects you in every single thing. You're just not realizing it yet. Like, you just don't realize it yet. But I don't know. And like I said, I'm not glorifying one side versus the other side. I'm literally the type that will sit there and watch both sides and look at the whole picture and look at how people are interacting with each other, how people will put on the camera. I mean, that's a big thing. If you ever notice when they zoom in on somebody and then what happens when they zoom out, how facial expressions change, how awareness changes. And I love with my particular group that I was watching, they kept zooming on the people falling asleep. I thought that was hilarious. So there was many people falling asleep as well. So that was like family time for us, even though she was bored out of her mind and she's like, I'm going to bed. I'm like, okay, you know something, you want to go to bed, that's fine. I continued to watch the whole thing straight up to the end. Like I said, I'm not here to pick one side versus the other. I was just here saying, okay, these are little things that I've observed, which I thought was hilarious, and you can discuss amongst yourselves. I don't know. All right, so I haven't really been doing, well, not that I haven't been doing, I've had short shows. So I'm hoping today we can have a great show. I want to read from Scripture in the Jar. I want to read from this. I want to say a prayer, and then I definitely want to get into this because we just finished David, um, um, the House of David on Prime. Very good. And it's interesting how this is the beginning of the House of David. This is the whole King Saul. So David is obviously going to be the king after Saul. But it's interesting how I could read about it now and watch it visually. So I'm still watching The Chosen as well. Just finished season 3, and of course there was more. What do you call it? More blooper reels at the end of season 3. So if anybody's watching The Chosen after season 1, after season 2, I have to go back to season 1 if that's the case as well. But at the end of season 2 and at the end of season 3, they had an entire blooper reel with The Chosen. So I thought that was interesting. All right, let's start off with a prayer. I think a prayer is a good place to start off with because I really didn't have a topic today. Like my topic was, I watched the State of the Union address. That's not really a topic. So, well, let's start off with a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you so much that every day I can wake up with gratitude, with love, with happiness, that I could come together here and read your word. I pray that we have clarity, understanding, and discernment as we read your word the way you were intended. I pray if there's anybody out there that needs some help, some guidance, a little bit of attention, that you please spread your love and joy and help them out. I'm so thankful that every day I wake up as a new day, a new beginning, and that I can live this beautiful life in your name. In Jesus' name, amen. So, let me start off with a scripture in a jar. Now, I do this randomly. So I think we're on day 3. In fact, I lost my. Did I lose my other ones? Yeah, I guess I lost my other ones. All right, this is day 3 because I know I started this, and so I'm going to just write that down. Oops, my pen. Where'd my pen go? My pen's broken. Here, do this pen. All right, so day 3, and it's 2:25. All right, so this one says, and this is a yellow one, which is for happy. So this is the happy one. So it says, but seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all things will be added to you. And that is from Matthew 6:33. So, hello, Willie. Thank you for all the likes and loves. I appreciate that. So that is my scripture in the jar. And then I want to read from this. I've been doing this every day as well, which I think this has been very uplifting, particularly when you put it in terms of Jesus. So this will be, what are we doing? We are doing, what day is this? This is, we're on day 13. Day 13 of this. Day 13, which is on 2:25. It says, I am always aware of the signs that point to me and my purpose. I think about what I like most about my life, the things I do, and what I like most to do. In them, I find the signs that lead me to my purpose. Now, I like this one because for me, I would always say the universe. And whether I say universe, it could be a message from God, it could be but I always say the universe gives signs. And I always try to pay attention. Like if something is out of the ordinary and a sign is given to me, I want to pay attention because for me, that would be an indication that whatever I was normally going to do in that instance, to be aware, not do what I was normally going to do and change course. And that's what's interesting about the whole free will thing, because I do believe, and people may not agree with this, I do believe that our destinies can be changed. I do believe that while God may know the outcome, I think it's still up to determining us whether we continue with that outcome. I mean, people in general are very, very predictable people. They really are. Like the choices we make, the things we do, we can be semi predictable. So it does make sense that God can say, well, I know exactly what's going to happen because they're going to fall into this pattern. And that's one of the reasons why I even say if a sign comes into my life for a reason, then I think about what would I have normally done versus what I'm going to do now. Because obviously that sign is telling me to change my course of path. And that's where I think free will comes in. One could then turn around and say, well, wait a minute, because that sign was given, that is now manipulating your path. Have a good day. And thank you, Faith. You too. I think we could change our own destiny, but it's already predestined by God according to his foreknowledge. I see, but then that's just it, Bela. And I mean, that's a good point. It can automatically be predestined, but it makes me wonder, and this is two different perspectives. Is it that it's automatically predestined, and because we deviate from it, it creates different dimensions, it creates different life streams, it creates different universes? So that's theory number one. Theory number two is, okay, yes, we're always predestined. God always knows what the outcome is going to be no matter what. And even if we try to change it, it's going to be something like, like Final Destination. If you try to cheat death, death is going to keep coming back at you harder and harder and harder. That's another way to look at it. And it makes me wonder. But I often have to ask, if God really knows what our predestined determination is, then where is the free will? Will there ever be free will? Once you read Romans 9, which isn't long, it'll be clearer. Okay, so it's clear in Romans 9 that he's going to know everything and he's going to know exactly where our path is, and we have no choice. There's no well, JEC says there is no free will. Okay, so there's no free will. I have ups and downs about that. I feel like in certain cases we definitely have free will. I mean, I almost want to say, if this is bad to say, do we have free will when the answer is automatically given to us? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, if you have a choice between life and death, obviously you're going to choose life. So is there really free will with that because you chose life? You know what I mean? It's free will definition is the ability to choose without restraints. And see, that's how I looked at it. Because I always said, if God was literally giving us free will, then he wouldn't intervene if we were to walk away. In the past, he did. In the past, if you walked away from him, he intervened and killed you instantly. And not only did he kill you, he killed everything around you. He killed your firstborn. He killed your neighbor, everything. Like, he went on a murderous rampage. It wasn't until, like I said, we start seeing a change now where he's like, fine, you want to go serve other people. It'll be during the time of tribulation that you'll be judged, which that's a very, very different mindset. It really is. So I almost feel like that was the point he gave free will, is when he finally said, go choose what you want to do, because then your consequences will be at tribulation, not the consequences immediately that you're going to die. There are restraints in hell. We are free to do many things, but we do not have the free will to choose God on our own. Okay, interesting. So no, that's a very interesting thing. So you're saying that he'll give us free reign over everything, but the one unspoken rule is that we have to choose him no matter what. However, there are other choices besides him. I mean, we already know there's Baal, there's Aphamat, there was a couple of other Moloch, there was a couple of gods that were mentioned here that people could have chosen, but because they keep choosing those other gods, he keeps punishing them by death or by famine or by plagues. The Bible says none of us will choose him willingly. He must draw us first. Is there a consequence? If there's a consequence, there's no free will. Can I choose God not go to hell? I mean, that's a good question. And I mean, even that question, can I choose God and not go to hell? The flaw in that question is, okay, do we believe in hell? Do we believe in God? I mean, there's so many, like, even any question that you would ask, there would always be some sort of bias with it. So I always have the question in regards to, because Christians will always say, well, if you don't choose God, you're going to hell. The way to get to heaven is only through Jesus Christ. And that's one of the things I say, well, wait a minute. A Muslim doesn't want to get to heaven. A Muslim wants to get to Jannah. A Buddhist doesn't want to get to heaven. Buddhist wants to get to Nirvana. And it goes on and on down the line. So it makes me wonder, just because one religion says you are going to hell, does that necessarily mean, if you don't believe in God, that you are going there, when no other religion necessarily says, well, if you don't believe in mine, you're going to go to hell? You know what I mean? It's okay. So not choose. Hell is separation from God. God can't allow injustices, and the way to atone for the injustice is by believing in God's sacrifice. A perfect God had to sacrifice himself for us. I feel ashamed because I only pray and look for God when I desperately need them. How can I go back? I mean, that's a good question. this is something that I learned, and I guess that's Yao. I'm going to say Yao. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Yao, I'm going to say this, and that's a very good question because recently I started praying verbally. My whole life, I always prayed internally, and it was never praying out loud. And one of the things that I also realized, which was interesting, is when I prayed, I never asked for anything. I didn't. When I prayed, I was always thankful for things. So I would be like, thank you for this food that you give me. Thank you for this roof. Thank you for another day of health. And somebody said, well, if you need help, you need to actually start asking. I had this instant recently where I had a panic attack. And when I get panic attacks, I run away from Chris. And the reason I run away from him is because in my head, I thought he would never want to see me upset and he would never want to see me cry. So I would cry on my own. And he didn't realize that. And he would say to me, he says, is that what you're doing when you wake up in the middle of the night and you disappear? And I'm like, and he's like, why didn't you ask me for help? And it never dawned on me that I could ask him for help. And I know I'm putting that in man's terms, but I want to put that in a spiritual term as well, because that's the same story when it comes to God. God is there. Jesus is there. All you have to do is ask. At any point, you can close your eyes and you can have a relationship to your God, to Jesus, to the Lord. You can have that relationship. And even if you don't know what to ask for, just having that conversation will make you feel so much better. It really will. Let me go back for a minute. Okay, so you said it, you feel ashamed because you pray and look for God when desperately need Him. How can I go back? Well, you know something? During the times that you don't desperately need Him, reach out to Him and say thank you. I mean, you can literally have a conversation that's be like, Jesus, you know something? Today I'm having a really good day. I It's not that I don't need you, but I'm having a good day. I'm on my own. I just want to be thankful that you are there in my life. And I mean, that's a simple way. That's how you can go back. There's a reason Jesus talked more about hell than heaven. You don't want to go there. Now, see, I have to read that more because I almost want to say, and please forgive me, and I want to wait till I get there. There really, from my understanding, there really isn't a lot of talk about hell, particularly from Jesus. So I know Jesus talked about heaven, but a lot of times when I say to people, give me the exact scripture on hell, they can't provide that. So when you say there's a reason Jesus talked more about hell than heaven, I'm going to disagree with you because I don't think Jesus really talked about hell at all. If you can provide me a scripture where Jesus talked about hell, then yes, you definitely proved me wrong. But I really do not know that answer. And I'm waiting until I get to the New Testament because I'm definitely going to do a deep dive on the hell issue. I really am. He was warning, warning, warning. God's knowledge doesn't cancel human responsibility. We choose, He knows. Prayers, please. Hello, Wanda. Yes, we did just say a prayer, and I did. This was a couple of minutes ago, and I did say definitely if anybody has any prayer requests, that to put it in the chat, extend it out. I mean, I definitely did pray for love and guidance. I believe panic attacks can be a spiritual thing. You know something? I don't know if it's a good spiritual thing or a bad, but all I know is I do get panic attacks at time. A lot of it is due to my history, which, like I said, I'm not trying to play a victim. A lot of it I'm past, but there are times that I do go into a panic attack, and I don't think it's a healthy spiritual thing. I really don't. Um, I think the more healthier part is when I can calm myself and bring myself to get past it. That's probably the positive thing. But the attack itself, for me, would be literally, I mean, for lack of better terms, it would be like demons interrupting my mind. That's how I feel. Something spiritually churning in you, or you're wrestling with something internally, and your body is fighting with it. See, I want to say it's not necessarily my body. I mean, it does turn into my body fighting it, but it's my mind, because the biggest thing is I get into such a war with my mind that it affects my body. Your hands are the fruit of your mind. Okay, that's interesting. Um, so I don't get a lot of panic attacks, but when I do get my panic attacks, and I know for people it's different. For me, it's usually I will hear screaming in my head. And it's very, very negative screaming in my head. And it becomes so loud that it's almost like I want to cover my ears because it's so loud. But of course, I'm not hearing anything because it's all in my head. Aside from that, I get the breathing issues where no matter how much I breathe, I can't catch my breath. It's like no matter what I breathe, it's so fast paced that I'm not getting a full oxygenated breath. And then, of course, there's the anger and the tears and the shaking and the trembles. And my panic attacks are mind first, then it becomes physical within myself, and my extremities are numb. Breathing issues and feeling impending doom. Yeah, for me, I will start quivering and shaking. I'll get tremors, and the tremors get really, really bad. As then, like I said, I will curl up. I mean, one of the things that they tease is they call me turtle because I will literally curl up, and it'll be so shaky and frightful, and I don't know how to calm myself down. And it does require a lot of times deep breaths. It does require some prayer. It requires some focus to shut the mind down. And I always wonder, okay, are the panic attacks, like you said, is it just myself attacking me? Or could it be outside forces? If you stop drinking, the tremor should disappear. Lovely. See, I don't even drink. JQ, is there anything positive you can actually say? I mean, you know something? I'm not even in the mood for this. I should just, you know what I should just do? I should just completely block JQ. But that's where I think my mistake is. Because you know something? When somebody says something stupid, I will mute them, and they're muted for the entire duration of the show. And JQ comes in almost every day, which you know something I should give him credit. He comes in every day. But that's what it is. He comes in every day just to disrupt and say something stupid. So I mean, part of me is like he should be on my block list. But you know something, he's not. I guess that's me torturing myself. But um but Bilo, as you were saying, I mean, panic attacks, it's debilitating. It really is. Because then aside from the physical things, good morning Francis, welcome to the show. Aside from the physical, um the mental, the breathing, I mean in some cases people can feel like they're having a heart attack. That's how bad panic attacks. I mean, I know when I go into a real panic attack, I need to have my inhaler because I can't even, I go into an asthma attack, I can't even breathe. Um and it's just, I don't like feeling that way. I really don't. It's like I want to do anything and everything to try to stop that. Now, people could say, all right, instantly you can pray. And you know something? I have done that. I have prayed. A friend of mine called me up about a week and a half ago, and she was having a panic attack. And it was funny because I haven't spoken to her in a very long time. And I said to her, she's a friend of mine, bear in mind, but I never knew what her religious affiliation is because in my circle, that's something you never ask. Like, and I find that interesting. Like, the first thing that never came out of my mouth when it comes to meeting people is what your religion is or what your political affiliation is. Because to me, it doesn't matter what your religion is. It doesn't matter your political, it doesn't matter any of that. So when I sat down, when I was talking to her, and I says, you know something? Do you believe in God? And she's like, "Of course I do." I says, "Would you like to pray?" And she's like, you will pray for," like she was shocked that I would pray with her. I'm like, "Of course I would pray." And she's like, "But we never," I'm like, "Yeah, I know, we've never done this at all." But you know something? And by me praying with her and just taking a moment, she calmed down incredibly. Panic attacks can be magnesium too. See, I'm curious about that. I mean, okay, I'll tell you what's been going on with me. I've been having quite a number of medical crises going on. And one of the things that they're noticing is a lot of my nutritional levels have been tanking really bad. So, like recently, vitamin D completely down, folic acid down, B12 down. I mean, I'm getting like such low levels of it, and it doesn't matter what I eat. I can eat healthy. I can eat vitamin enriched foods. I can have salads. I can have vegetables, stuff like that. Um, I'm trying a different path to see what's going to happen because obviously, remember, I started the low carbing. And because I was low carbing, a lot of the stuff I was going to was vegetables, which makes absolutely no sense if I'm having so many more vegetables, if I'm eating a more healthy, rounded meal. Why are my levels dropping so drastically? And this is even after all that. Hello, English bulldogs. I'm in Texas right now, originally from New York, but I'm in Texas, so that's where we're doing it. So, because my levels have dropped, and I mean, I'm taking supplements, I'm taking this, I'm taking that, but when you say something like panic attacks causes, it could be from magnesium, it makes me wonder if that's another reason as to why drink 8 bottles of water in one day for a couple of weeks in a day. I do drink water. I'm trying something new. I recently got mushroom coffee. Um, because for some reason I'm trying a more holistic approach, and I'm wondering, and I know this is going to sound gross, but I'm wondering if I actually have parasites. And I don't know if that's, I want to test it out for about 2 weeks. I want to see if anything improves because no matter blood test after blood test after blood test, my doctors, they tell me, oh yeah, there's inflammation, there's some sort of infection in your system, but we have no idea what the infection is. We can't find it. We can't do this. We can't do that. And it's like saying, okay, so most vegetables are avoidant too. Oh, because they keep breaking them down and genetically modifying and stuff like that. So in other words, all the vegetables I'm eating are useless. It could be an imbalance in gut bacteria. Maybe try. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. I started doing that recently. So what I've been taking, which seems like a lot, but I'm taking a probiotic at night. I'm taking a it's a tincture of wormwood with pumpkin seeds. It's like a 20 in 1 tincture that is supposed to help the gut bacteria. And I'm also taking the mushroom coffee. So those are 3 things that I just started this week. So I won't be able to report on it until I want to give it like at least 2 weeks. So I just started. Do I get leg cramps? What ends up happening at night, I get really, really bad leg cramps. And not only do I get leg cramps, I get a numbness coming from my upper thigh straight to my knee. So the whole upper thigh section on just my right leg will go completely numb. And what I have to do is I have to constantly use a massager to try to wake it up. Um, I've been going to the doctor, like I said, in regards to a neurology doctor. The next one I need to go to is perhaps a autoimmune doctor because they're thinking that maybe that's more of an issue with me. But it's a little scary because, like I said, with doctors nowadays, they only treat the one symptom, not the whole symptom. So, in other words, like if I have a problem, okay, here's a problem I have. They're going to send me to a doctor for that one problem. But that problem might be overlapping with another problem. So now I'm going to another doctor, another specialist for another problem. And now each of them are giving me new medication. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What is the issue going on? And I'm the type that I can't stand taking medication, but if I have to, I have to. But they just keep piling the medicine on and on. And it gets to the point before you know it, I'm a walking pharmacy taking like 30 medicines. Don't want to do that. Um, so magnesium is depleted out of the soil because they don't let the soil rest. Yeah, they just keep planting, and light moderate exercise may help too. Planet Fitness has these stair things that really help a lot of women do. I will tell you this, I used to actively go to Planet Fitness. I was one of those people that would wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go to Planet Fitness. I would work out for an hour, and then I would either go to work or when I was no longer working, start my day and do my online business. Um, since coming here, the closest gym is now a half an hour away. And a lot of people could say, "Oh, well, that's an excuse." To me, that is an excuse because I lived when I was in my other town, I lived 2 minutes away from Planet Fitness. So I was there all the time. And one of the things I loved about Planet Fitness was their massage bed. That was the most amazing thing I've ever had. But when I moved, I could have brought my thing here, but to have to drive 30 minutes just to get to a Planet Fitness, that's that's not feasible for me. Okay, yes, clove wormwood. That's exactly what I'm taking. I have this tincture. It's a 20 in one. It's clove, wormwood, walnut. There's pumpkin seeds in it. There's a whole bunch of other stuff in it. I want to test it out because I mean, I know maybe it's like a TikTok trend or this and that, but I'm at the point right now that I'm exhausting all other medical things. I mean, it's not like I'm not being constantly going to the doctor. I am. I'm constantly getting blood tests, this and that. And my doctor keeps saying, well, it's not this, it's all in your head, it's this and that, when there's obviously something wrong. So I'm trying that. I just started. I mean, believe it or not, I started 3 days ago. So I think the first 2 days was I'm going to see what happens because there was slight cramping and stuff like that. But I just started my coffee 2 days ago. I started the tincture 3 days ago. So we're going to see what happens. And maybe within 2 weeks, maybe there will be an improvement. I don't know. Your mom in 60, she does it, could buy a treadmill and then set it to an incline. Always let your doctor know what you're using with prescription because mixing natural medicines, yes, that I know as well. And I am in touch with my doctor. I'm actually, I'll be honest, I'm in the process of looking for another doctor because I just think I'm not looking for a miracle worker, but I am looking for a doctor that can actually will not just say, "Oh, well, your problem is simply your weight and your weight and your food intake." And that gets extremely frustrating when you are dieting, when you are exercising. I mean, like I said, I don't go to Planet Fitness. I would love to go back there, but I exercise here. I do yoga. I do stretching. I do movement exercises. Every now and then I'll go for a walk. I mean, it all depends because we've had issues with weather and stuff like that. But it's like now that it's getting nicer, I can go back outside and start walking. So it's like these things, I'm not making excuses, but it's very, very frustrating when you know there's a problem and you're telling your doctor there's a problem, and all they could say is, well, your problem is because you're fat and you eat too much. So always let your doctor know when you're using prescriptions because mixing natural. Do you take it? Yes, I do take antidepressants, unfortunately. Western medicine can have a bad reaction, and I absolutely know that. Do I have PCO? Yes, that's one of the things I do have. I'm sorry, but you know something, you could say I'm making excuses, but I don't see myself making excuses because what I see myself is this has been a journey for me, mind, body, and spirit. And just because I might not be going at a rate that other people find suitable, it's a suitable rate for me. I am loving the fact that in 98 days, because yes, this is the 98th show, in 98 days, I've become spiritually aligned in a relationship with God and Jesus. In 98 days, I have lost weight. I have changed my diet. I have changed my health. I have done the things that I needed to do. And if all you see is me making excuses, well, then, you know, something that's on you because I'm actually proud of myself that the changes that I'm making in order to better myself. PCOS can make it almost impossible to. And not only have I had PCOS, I also had endometriosis. I can't say that word, but endometriosis. I've had that as well. And these are things that, like I said, I don't like the fact that when you have one problem, they only treat the one problem. They're not looking at the total picture. And that's why I might have to go to a autoimmune specialist because there are things that are going on throughout my entire body, inflammation, things that, and my doctors are not understanding. My specialists are not, we don't have an answer yet. How can people achieve this? Please take care of yourself and then you're going to live life. I'm already living life. One of the things I say, and I say this, and that's one of the things that I'm grateful and thankful for, is that there are people who live and then there are people who exist. And too many people exist. And what I mean about the people who exist, they're the ones that will get up day and day. They have the same routine. There's no joy in their life. When they wake up, they'll be like, oh no, it's another day. I got to go to work. I got to do this. Those are the people that exist. That is so far from what I do. I'm the type that when I wake up, I smile and I'd be like, you know something? Today is a new day to do something amazing, to do something wonderful, to do something for myself. Those are the things. I will be the one that will stop and smell the roses at any point. If I see something beautiful, I will stop and specifically change my day just to do whatever that beautiful thing is. Um, how can people achieve this? Please take care of yourself, and then you're going to live life. Prayer without ceasing. And see, and like I said, I'm incorporating prayer a lot more in my life, and I think that's been a beautiful thing. It's way better in a healthy body. Melanie, I could totally understand what you're going through. So am I. Aw, you're gonna pray for me. Thank you so much. You're right, but living in a healthy body is different. Okay, and I absolutely agree with that. Living in a healthy body is different, but remember, in order to achieve a healthy body, it's not going to happen at a snap of a finger. And that's not making excuses. I mean, like I said, I can exercise daily, I can eat healthy, I can drink my water, drink my I mean, all these things that I do, yes, it's different than what I was doing. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I completely abused my body. I mistreated it. I didn't respect it. I ate too much. I did nothing. I led a sedentary life. But there were times that I wasn't, that I was active, that I'm trying to regain my health, my confidence, my body, my health back. That's really what I want to do. The dude with the cat is being over, and you know something, he can. He's allowed to voice his opinions. I mean, I give everybody the respect that if they want to say something, they can. If it gets out of line, then you know something, I just block them. Okay, it's time. Now, see here it says it's time to respect the body that God gave it to you. I'm already respecting it. Like, just by you saying that, it's like you're implying that I'm not. So, but that's what ends up happening. I mean, B Law, I thank you for defending me. What's going to happen is I, by being live like this, by being open, it is going to invite negativity, criticism, and it's going to invite trolls that come in that want to disrupt. I know it is, and I think that's one of the things of having a very strong, thick skin is in some cases it can be upsetting, but in other cases, yeah, you're absolutely right. So it's like, okay, you're absolutely right. I abused myself, and you know something, I let things go, but that doesn't mean I'm not doing it. I'm not doing something about it now. Um, if a fact, people with autoimmune issues struggle way more. Oh, it's a fact, yeah, and that's just it. Is my blood tests keep showing an underlying, like my levels are always high, that there's an indication of an autoimmune inflammation, but it's not through the roof. It's like when you look at my levels, and believe me, I take blood tests a lot. They give me a lot of blood tests. Um, it's like my body is always uh, undergoing some sort of infection, but they can't find the infection. There's always indications of inflammation, but there's no source of the inflammation. So that's why I think that's going to be the next step, is looking into auto, and that's what the problem is these are fairly new things. This isn't years and years and years of being sick. This literally is having a very, very healthy, although I've been obese, but having a very, very healthy track record of medical issues. And then all of a sudden, over the past 2 years, 3 years, health declining so rapidly, it's like, where did all these issues come from? You know what I mean? And I find that it's a little troubling at some point, and it's also worrisome. And that's why my doctors also are not taking it seriously, because some of these issues that I'm complaining about, well, there's no medical history of it. Like there's nothing that even indicates that you have these issues. So now it becomes, oh, it's all in your head, when clearly there's something is wrong. I said that because I didn't respect my body before, so I say it now is the right time. Have you been on a diet? I absolutely have, and I'm still on a diet, and I always will be on a diet. If a person has an autoimmune, has to take everything extremely slow, or it can make things worse. And that's one thing. Like, people say to me, "Oh, well, you need to go to the gym. You need to work out and stuff like that." In the past, I used to do that. Like I said, we just had the conversation. I used to go to Planet Fitness 5 a.m. in the morning. I would wake up, work out for an hour, and go to work. That was a normal, everyday occurrence for me. Now, if I even step foot in a gym and start exercising at that level, I will be bedridden for the next 4 or 5 days. That's how bad it is. And to me, that's highly that's scary. Like, I can't believe that where I am in my life, that I actually have to restrict my movement, my activity, in fear that if I push myself too hard, I won't be able to get out of bed for the next 3 or 4 days. And I've had that happen where, I mean, how many times have I gone a couple of days without even being on the show? Because that's what happened. I pushed myself too much, and it's like, okay, I can't even get out of bed because I'm in so much pain. There's something powerful in being humble and honest about the bad things in your life. The fact that you're wearing a chip shirt. Oh, because I'm wearing a Cheeto shirt. Oh, lovely. So so wait a minute. If it's not my hair not being down, it's the fact that I'm wearing a Cheeto shirt that's upsetting people. Okay, that's beautiful. I will say this. You know something, you're gonna laugh about this. I will say this. I have a lot of t-shirts. In fact, that's mostly what I wear is t-shirts. And I will even go as far as to say this is a lot of my t-shirts I've either gotten free, I've gotten at extreme discount, or I've gotten in some sort of weird trading thing. Because one of the things is I am a reseller. I resell things. So obviously, when I get a big pallet and there's clothes in it, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to pick the clothes that fit me. Do you think I care that it says Cheetos on it? I really don't care. But you know something? Hey, it's a t-shirt. It's nice. It fits me. I don't have to go out and spend money. So yeah, I am going to wear a Cheeto shirt. So so even that, the fact that I'm wearing a chip shirt, that alone is just, I want to say you're so blinded by your own like blindness. Like, you know what I mean? It's like for you it's all judgment on an exterior rather than getting to know the real answer. Not many people just admit it. Okay, then why is it not? Francis, thank you. It sounds like I'm doing everything right. And you know something, lots of love. I think I am. um there'll be good moments that I have, there'll be bad moments. I mean, I will say this, the past week or so, I was having trouble. I was having medical issues. Even yesterday, like, I ended up leaving the show early the past 2 days, and on one end, I mean, I did have appointments and stuff like that. Like, even on Friday, I have another appointment. I'm not going to be here Friday at all because I actually have to go out of state for this appointment, which I think is ridiculous. But yes, I actually have to go to Oklahoma to have this appointment. My choice was, do I want to go to Dallas or do I want to go to Oklahoma? I chose Oklahoma because it's actually closer for me to drive to Oklahoma than it is for me to drive to Dallas for a stupid appointment. But um I'm trying to do everything right. I'm trying to be more aware of where my body is, where my mind, where my spirit is. And that's why, like I said, for me, this is an entire transformation. I come here every day, I pray, I read. Even if what I'm reading, you may not agree with my interpretation of it, which is fine because you know something? Not everybody's going to agree on the same interpretation, but at least I can come and say, together we can believe, because when two or more come together and speak my name, then you know that the Lord is here. So the fact that she needs to lose weight then is not. Something, I mean, I want to say this, no, duh, of course I need to lose weight. But I find it interesting. Like, for example, I can eat a small meal and eat absolutely nothing and fast and exercise, and I will actually gain weight. Whereas Chris, who's a twig, can eat and pound down as much food as possible, filling up his plate to the point that you actually see his stomach bulge out, and then it's gone the next day. The guy just, the guy has the metabolism of a bumblebee. It doesn't matter how much food he eats. He eats and eats and eats, and where me, on the other hand, I'll eat a little bit, and it's not a. It's funny. Just oh, okay, girl, push yourself, but not to the point where you're going to harm yourself. And that's, thank you. I appreciate that, because that is the part that I have a problem with, is because I will push myself to the point that I harm myself, and that has been way too many things in the past. So now I'm starting to take things super slow. I'm starting to take things very, very. I'm not on anybody else's time frame. I'm on my own time frame, and I'm going to take it day by day by day, and just completely transform that way. I wish, Francis, direct message me. I have no problem with exchanging numbers. I'm obviously not going to put it out for everyone to see, but yeah, direct message me. We could exchange numbers. That's fine. It's called a slow fast metabolism. I know I have a very slow metabolism, whereas Chris has a very fast metabolism. Then it means you need to push yourself more than him, because he made your show. Oh yeah, Chris actually needs to gain. His doctor wants him to gain 45 pounds. That's how thin Chris is. Like, he's been told you need to gain 45 pounds. Me, on the other hand, I've been told, well, I told him, I'm like, can I just scoop up 45 pounds and give it to you? Uh-oh, I don't know. I think I just invited somebody by accident, so I have no idea what I did. So you're talking about healthy and everything. So what did you do today to help my body? Okay, well, I started out, I had an amazing breakfast. I had my water, I did a stretching routine. I'm drinking my mushroom coffee, and now that was my mind and body part. Now comes the spiritual part, where I'm sitting here that I'm going to read. And after the show is over, then I'm going to actually get to work and do laundry, clean the house, clean my room, and do my business. So, oh, you're saying that's not enough. Okay, so say, see, you're being judgmental. For me, I think that's more than enough. I did a stretching routine. That's how I woke up. I'm going to be working all day. I mean, if you think that's not enough, then I'm not here to please you. I'm here to please myself. So, thank you for. Oh, who did I invite? Oh, disconnect. Sorry, guy. I'm so glad I have Chris too, Francis. I do. We were teasing yesterday again. We shouldn't be teasing, but um, we're talking about marriage. Well, we're talking. After watching the speech, when they went to the whole medical expenses, because I'm curious what's going to happen come next year with the whole Affordable Care Act. As of right now, Affordable Care Act has been extended. Now, it just so happens, me being self-employed business, I'm using the Affordable Care Act marketplace as my insurance. I had a scare this year thinking it would be done away with, but instead it hasn't. They extended it. So one of the things we were talking about is like, okay, I'm not going to know what's going to happen in September when the new policy comes into play, which I thought was interesting, because normally policies go from January to January. Mine goes from September to September. Don't ask me, I have no idea. So last year, when they had this whole issue with the Affordable Care Act, they dropped my insurance. But when they realized they made a mistake in dropping it, they reinstated it right away. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So they reinstated it. I'm curious what's going to happen this year because now Trump wants to change it where it's no longer going directly to the insurance company. Money will be coming directly to the people instead. I want to see if that's the case or not. But the backup plan involving Chris is that if my insurance does get dropped, then obviously we're going to get married and I'll hop on his insurance. It's just, it doesn't make sense right now for me to hop on his insurance because I'm locked in at a beautiful rate. It really is. I'm locked in at a rate. I mean, and it's funny because I ended up getting locked in before the whole fiasco, which is weird. And the only reason it helped in my case was because they accidentally dropped my insurance, which they never did, which started a new September. That's why I'm like in this very, very weird bubble right now. And I'm wondering what's going to happen come next September because that's when my insurance is going to cease. And when it ceases, does that mean it's going to go up to the price that they were supposed to go? I don't know. But actually, I don't even know why I was talking about this. But yeah, the point is Chris is good. Like, so where I was teasing at is I'm like, so that means you got to marry me then. And he's like, okay, we'll get married. I'm like, oh, no, you can't do this. It's not like, okay, we're going to get married. I'm like, you need to get down on your knees and beg me to be in your life. So he's like, and meantime, this is in front of Brianna and everything. So he's like, I says, yes, you're the man. You need to beg me that you want me in your life. So this is where it gets funny. So he comes down and he's like looking at me. He's like, come on, won't you marry me? Won't you marry me? At this point, the dogs think there's something wrong with him. So they think it's a puppy pile. So all the dogs just like climb on top of him and knock him over. So now he's on the floor. I'm cracking him laughing. Brianna's laughing as anything. The dogs are like, yeah. But yeah, they were trying to protect him because I guess they thought I was hurting him or something. I was like, you need to get down on your knee. Because now he's on the floor and they're all coming over thinking, what's wrong with Daddy? What's wrong with Daddy? I'm sorry. Yeah. If anybody watched the recent video, we have a, what do you call it? It's a cockapoo. It's a golden poo. I'm sorry, a golden doodle, whatever. It's a golden retriever poodle mix. The thing is huge, and his hair was all matted. I normally have a clipper for him, but our clippers broke, so we just got the new clippers, and we ended up getting sheep shears in, and we had to shave him down. So now he looks like, and he's loving him. We put a sweater on him and everything to go outside. So this poor dog is like shaved completely, and now he's using a sweater, and but it's for healthy. Like somebody's like, why did you do that? We had to do that. It was for health and hygiene. His hair was all getting matted up around the neck area, so we had to do that. Healthcare changes do sound like a good change. Watch T Talk about it. TED Talk or something about. Oh, I'm not too sure what you mean by T Talk. But I know I'm black. Oh, Trump. Oh, the healthcare changes. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what I was watching last night when he brought up about the healthcare. I mean, I almost want to say I think it's a great idea to bypass the insurance companies and go straight to the only thing is I can see where people will use the money not for health benefits, that they'll use it for themselves instead. And as a result, the insurance industry is going to tank because they're not going to have as much money coming into the system as they do now. And so I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I almost wish that the insurance company can tank. I really do. I think insurance is a joke in many respects, but but I'm wondering, like, because you always have to, like, I always like to look at things when something is being said. I like to look at what the loopholes are. So when they're trying to pass something, in my head, I think, okay, how do you get around it? What are the ways that you can cheat the system? What can you, and that's how I look at things, and maybe that's a bad thing to look at things. And that's the one thing that I don't like about the putting it into the hands of the people, is that people will not be using it for the very thing that they want it to be used for. They're going to be using it for something else, which means the insurance industry is going to go down. They're not going to be paying the doctors. Doctors are not going to be paid. More doctors are going to leave, which there'll be less and less doctors, because already there's a doctor crisis to begin with. In big cities, that's not really an issue, but when you live in a small town like me, I cannot tell you how difficult it is for me to get a specialist on certain things. And I'm going for a test on Friday. It took me a good 2 months to get this test, but I'm going for a test on Friday because my neurologist is concerned that maybe I might have actually had a minor stroke, and that's part of what my issue is. So they're going to be taking a brain scan to determine, because they want to see some of my brain activity. I couldn't go local, so the choice was I either have to go to Dallas or I have to go to Lawton in Oklahoma. So I'm like, you know something, I'll take a trip. I'll go to Lawton, Oklahoma. It'll be, but that's where I'm going to go on Friday. And I mean, that's kind of scary. I mean, and my doctor even said, she's like, I don't want to scare you. She says, it's just a mannerism to rule things out. So I'm like, okay, at least we're being thorough, we're being careful. They want to rule out that that's because, like I said, remember with me, I have there's no prior history of some of my ailments, and then all of a sudden, the last 3 years, whoop, my health has aggressively deteriorated. So, so she's concerned that maybe, okay, maybe there is something, maybe there's a blockage in your head, maybe, maybe it literally is all in my head. But we'll see. So that's where I am on Friday. But that's a little scary. So we'll see what happens. I just hope with all the things that I'm doing, all the changes I'm making, that it's going to be enough. That's my only hope, that it's literally going to be enough. All right, so we started. Here's my mistake a couple of days ago. We're actually on the same chapter. We've been on chapter 16 for like 3 days now because I haven't started reading it yet. My mistake was the other day. I opened the book. I started reading. It turns out I was reading Second Samuel when I thought I was reading First Samuel. So that's why the story didn't make sense to me, because I'm like, I'm reading through the chapter. I'm like, why doesn't this make sense? And I'm like, and then I realized, oh, there's First Samuel, Second Samuel. So that was just an off day for me. It's like, okay, I just read the wrong Bible, the wrong verse. So I'm going to go back. We're doing First Samuel, chapter 16. I'm here to support you all. Oh, thank you, Francis. I appreciate that. I know for a lot of people, I'm background noise. I used to do the same thing. I'm a reseller, so there's lots of times that I will have background noise as far as people talking while I'm wrapping up packages and stuff like that. If not, I'll go with music or something like that. But I actually enjoy when people have talk shows that you can learn something, you can interact. So yeah, even if you're just listening in the background, absolutely love it, and I thank you so much for your support and love. Sorry, my nose. I really do. And people come in and out, and at least today it's not that bad. I mean, I had a couple of trolls here and there, but I like it when it's not such a bad day where it's like nothing but attacks. So I think today is a good day. So I'm going to start with First Samuel 16, because as of right now, and I'm reading, I'm watching. We just finished the House of David, so it's exciting because this is the story of Saul, who was the king before David. So it's like I'm visually seeing what we're actually talking about. Oh, interesting. My puzzle just came up. I notice. Oh, hold on. I notice when the puzzle comes up is usually when things are getting moderated. I just thought that was an interesting little thing. Because it used to be when I would start these lives, the puzzle would come up within 15 minutes. Then it got to the point where it would be a couple of hours later, then the puzzle will come out. Now it's starting to come out earlier. We've been on for an hour, so after an hour, it just came up. And notice how I said, okay, I'm going to read the Bible. So I changed the context of the conversation. We were talking about like health and politics and medicine. Now I'm talking about the Bible and my puzzle book comes up. So for some reason, it's like it doesn't like me reading the Bible. But, I'm going to get you. We're going to read it and we're going to learn something. All right, so chapter 16. And the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing that I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Okay, I'm going to stop for a second because I find this interesting. Saul has a part in that move, One Night with the King, why Saul fell. I haven't seen that movie yet, One Night with the King. I think that was the one that you recommended the other day, wasn't it? Which one did I write down? I wrote it down, and I don't remember what I wrote down. I gotta look up. There was a movie someone. I'll have to look it up. Okay, One Night with the King. Let me write that down. The one thing I was gonna. Oh, it's free on YouTube. Okay, yes. So you did mention that. All right, so then I'll definitely look that up because I'm always looking for things to watch. Why? So you can record? I almost want to say that's a song. I'm leaving, guys. Good luck. I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back at all. See, I don't mind. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna like just do a snippet of me saying stupid things? There you go. Anyway, what I was getting with this is the Lord is talking with Samuel. He talks more with Samuel than he talks with Saul. I almost wanted to say, why didn't the Lord appoint Samuel? Because I feel like Samuel would have been a much better king over these people than Saul was. And is it because, like, you know what I mean? It's like, why, I'm quitting my job and I'm going to send it to the group chat to tell. Oh, is that what it is? Okay, wait. That's even better. You're going to be like, I'm leaving. Guys, good luck. I am not coming back. Goodbye. So long. I'm going away. There you go. I almost want to say that would be an honor if somebody's playing that, like, I'm leaving. Goodbye. Yeah, I don't care what you do with that, Maisie. If you want to quit your job, something, quit in epic, beautiful ways. I mean, I almost want to say that I tortured myself with every single job I had because I actually gave 2 weeks notice. And it makes me wonder, why on earth would I always give 2 weeks notice? Like, why was I obliged to do that? If I quit, I should have just said, goodbye, I'm out of here. Like, I always had that respect for jobs that never respected me. I don't know. So if you're leaving, say goodbye. Just be careful, don't burn your bridges for the good ones, but you know what I mean? All right, so that's the question I have. If the Lord is talking with Samuel all the time, why didn't he just appoint Samuel as the king? Why make Saul the king? Particularly if Saul was such a bad dude to begin with. The main job of the prophet was to only answer to God and bring the people back to God. Okay, so that's what it is. Because he was a prophet, he was more of the middleman talking to God. I mean, I would say, I was Samuel a Levite, or like, because I was going to say he was like the priest, wasn't he? Yeah, okay. So he had that relationship with the Lord. And obviously the Lord likes Samuel. He doesn't necessarily like Saul. Saul is just a bad guy. It's like, but I almost wanted to say, it's like, why did he, like, what, like, I almost want to feel like Saul was the comic relief. Like, the Lord knew that he was going to be bad for the people. He knew he didn't like the people. He knew he was going to go crazy, but yet he let it happen. So it's like, I guess they dug their own grave. They wanted a king. So bam, here's a king, and your king is not going to be a good king. But that paved the way for David, where David became the king. You know what I mean? Okay. Um. All right. So how long will thou mourn Saul, foreseeing that I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thy horn with oil and go, and I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. And Samuel said, how can I go? If Saul hears this, he will kill me. And the Lord says, take a heifer with thee and say, I come to sacrifice to the Lord. And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show thee what I shall do. And thou shalt anoint unto him whom I name unto thee. And Samuel did which the Lord spoke, and came to Bethlehem. The elders of the town trembled at his coming and said, come thou peaceably? Okay, so I guess in watching, they're trembling because they're like, wait a minute, are you coming peacefully or are you coming to act war? And he said, peaceably. I come to sacrifice unto the Lord. Sanctify yourselves and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sanctified Jesse and his sons and called them to the sacrifice. And it came to pass when they were, he looked at Eliab and said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord see not a man seeth. The Lord look outward appearance, but the Lord look into the heart. Okay, interesting. All right, so they're coming to sanctify Jesse. But the people are like, no, wait a minute. You're not supposed to be doing Jesse. You should be doing Eliab, which Eliab, I'm assuming, is a taller, because he says his consonant or height in his statue, because so he's probably a taller, stronger warrior type person, but the Lord is not looking at the outward appearance. The Lord is looking inside the heart, and the heart of Jesse is better than that of Eliab. Then Jesse called Abinab and made him pass before Samuel, and he said, neither had the Lord chose this. Then Jesse made Shammah to pass by, and he said, neither had the Lord chose this. Again, Jesse made 7 of his sons pass before Samuel, and Samuel said unto Jesse, the Lord had not chosen these. And Samuel said unto Jesse, are here all thy children? And he said, there remain yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he comes. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look. And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren, and the Spirit of the Lord came down upon David that day forward. For Samuel rose and went to Ramah. Okay, so this was the point where he anointed David. So they weren't even going to include David in with the anointing. He was showing all his other sons. There's this son, there's this son, there's this son. They left poor David out with the sheep, thinking that, but yet he was the one that got anointed. But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him. Wait a minute, wait, hold on. The Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him. Okay, so 2 questions. Is the evil spirit of the Lord a fallen angel, or somebody trying to infiltrate Saul? Is the evil spirit of the Lord the opposite side of the goodness in the Lord? So the goodness, he has the Holy Spirit. So if the Holy Spirit is the good spirit, is there also an equivalent evil spirit as well? This is the first time I'm ever seeing evil spirit from the Lord. So my question is, what is an evil spirit? Now, I want to go to the parallel Bibles because I'm curious if the parallel Bibles call it an evil spirit of the Lord, or do they call it something else? Because I think that's going to be an important distinguish. So let me look this up. We're on 1 Samuel. I should have had this open to begin with, so I'm sorry. 1 Samuel chapter 16. And I forgot what verse I am. Okay, chapter 14. So 1 Samuel 16:14. Definitely curious as to what. Okay, 1 Samuel 16. Okay, so this one says, the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord tormented him. Okay, same thing. The Spirit of the Lord had left Saul, and instead the Lord sent a tormenting spirit, filled him with depression and fear. And this one says, now the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit of the Lord tormented him. Okay, so this is very interesting. And I mean, please forgive me. This is the first time that the Lord is sending something evil. Why would the Lord send something evil to inflict somebody? You understand what I'm saying? He's not sending a plague. He's not sending instant death. He's literally sending an evil spirit to infiltrate Saul. I mean, I almost want to say, is that demon possession? All right, let me go on, because that's just, I'm gonna highlight that. So 1 Samuel 16:14. Evil spirit from the Lord. Okay. And Saul's servant said unto him, behold, now an evil spirit from God has troubled thee. Let our Lord now command thy servants, which are before thee, to seek out a man who is a cunning player with a harp. And it shall come to pass, when the evil spirit from God is upon thee, that he shall play with his hand, and thou shalt be well. Okay, so music will be the thing to come. And Saul said unto his servants, provide me now with a man who can play well, and bring him to me. Then answered one of the servants and said, behold, I have seen the son of Jesse, the Bethlehem knight, that he is cunning, playing a mighty valiant man, and a man of war, and a prudent in matters of comely person, and the Lord is with him. Wherefore Saul sent messengers unto Jesse and said, send me David thy son, which is with the sheep. And Jesse took an ass laden with bread, and a bottle of wine and a kid, and sent them by David his son unto Saul. It was at this point that Saul became disobedient. Well, interesting. That's what I'm wondering. Did he become disobedient because of the evilness that the Lord put in? If I'm not mistaken, though, Saul was already on the Lord's bad side, because Saul, the Lord didn't approve of Saul. But now the Lord is specifically putting an evil force, an evil spirit within Saul. So I find that a little interesting. David came to Saul and stood before him, and he loved him greatly, and he became his armor bearer. And Saul sent to Jesse, saying, let David, I pray thee, stand before me, for he had found favor in my sight. And it came to pass, when the evil spirit from God was upon Saul, that David took a harp and played with his hand. So Saul was refreshed and was well, and the evil spirit departed from him. Now, I find that interesting. So, in other words, he's bringing David into the royal fold, because now he's a harp player for Saul. Saul is going to be possessed by this evil spirit, but yet every time David comes into play, the evil spirit is going to leave. So now it's creating a necessity where David is going to have to be part of the household just to get rid of this evil spirit, which makes me wonder, why is the Lord sending evilness to a person? Isn't this the same thing he did with the pharaohs, where he kept hardening the pharaoh's heart? It's almost like in this case, he's not hardening Saul's heart. Instead, he's infiltrating evil into Saul. Yes, he was. Saul had found favors in God's sight, but slowly lost that favor. Exactly. But it's just interesting how, like I said, the Lord manipulated it by putting the evil spirit in Saul, which makes me wonder, back to free will. Would Saul have continued on the path of evilness if he didn't have evil from the Lord coming into him? So if there was no manipulation by the Lord, what would have happened to Saul? We're going to move on to chapter 17. Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle, and they were gathered together at Shokoch, which belonged to Judah, and pitched between Shokah and Azakan in Ephesidaman. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together, and they pitched by the valley of Eli, and set the battle in array against the Philistines. The Philistines stood on a mountain on one side, and Israel stood on the mountain on the other side. And there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion of the camp of the Philistines, named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. Okay, so now we're getting to the story of David and Goliath. Hold on 1 second, guys. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry, guys. I was just responding to a message. We cannot speculate on anything that God decides, but we can only be in agreement. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not too sure what would have happened. But I do notice that in certain key stories of the Bible, God intervenes, or the Lord intervenes, sometimes not necessarily in a positive light, but the outcome is positive, if that makes sense. So in this case, he's putting evil into the king like he put evil in with the pharaohs. So it's just, but the outcome's going to be in a good way. Anyway, okay, so David and Goliath. I wanted to look something up. Cubics is, I believe, 20 inches. It's saying 6 cubics. I just want to look up how many feet is 6 cubics. All right. Okay, so we're talking 9 foot. Okay, so they believe that it was 9 foot 9 inches, about 2.97 meters. So okay, so pretty big. He's a 9 foot. He's tall. Okay, he had a helmet of brass upon his head. He was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. Okay, so he was definitely part of the Nephilim. So I'm sorry, Goliath was a giant. He was part of the Nephilim. We thought that they wiped away the Nephilim, but they obviously did not. So Noah's flood did not wipe out the Nephilim. It's questionable as to whether the Nephilim survived, or was it that the fallen angels just once again started hanging out with women that caused a second revolution of giants. Now we have more giants. There was giants in the Canaanite region that they were going for, which they killed off the giants. So now there's more. These men were huge and athletic, not like deformed giants. God knows our beginning from our ending. God already knew what Saul's ending would be and acted accordingly. And that makes sense. It does make sense. If he already knows what, and like I said, we were talking about this earlier, where humans can be pretty predictable. So I would think that, yeah, we already know what the outcome is going to be. But I also feel like that outcomes can be changed simply because of free will. And that if we can consciously make an effort to change what our normal everyday action would have been, then I think that can change the outcome of things. So, all right. So we're dealing with Goliath. I mean, Goliath is Nephilim. He's a giant. He's over 9 feet tall. He has this brass helmet. He has this chainmail coat. He had greaves of brass upon his legs and a target of brass between his shoulders. The staff of his spears was like a weaver's beam, and the spearhead weighed 600 shekels of iron. One bearing a shield went before him. Oh, I really enjoy this. Would love to converse with you at a later time. Well, thank you, Autism Superstar. I appreciate that. I'm on every single day, unless I have an appointment. So usually around like 10 a.m. to like 1, give or take. So please feel free to add me. I always have an open inbox as well. So thank you so much. I appreciate you coming in. Okay. He stood and cried at the armies of Israel, and said unto them, Why are ye outset your battle array? Am I not a Philistine, and ye servants to Saul? Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. Now, I will have to say this. After watching The House of David and now reading about it, because I literally can see the visual of him screaming at everything and all the armorers and stuff, like, come on out here, like the way he was screaming on it. So it's actually funny. I like the fact that they are taking these stories and putting them in visual form, because for some people it's easier to understand things when they see it visually as opposed to reading. Oh, keep spreading the words. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate it. And thank you, Autism. You're gonna look me up. You added me. Yes, I'll follow. At the end, I try to follow everybody who's followed me as well. So I'll return the favor as well. Um, okay. If he will be able to fight with me and kill me, then we will be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then ye shall be our servants and serve us. Which is exactly what, like I said, Goliath was saying. He was laughing at them. He was like, "Come here with your champion. Come here and fight me. If not," and it was going on and on. Which obviously David's going to become the champion. But I find it funny that it's telling that story after I just visually saw it. Hello, good morning, Sarah. Welcome to the show. So yes. So you got Goliath. He's screaming at the people. He's like, "Come here and fight." The Philistine said, I defy the armies of Israel this day. Give me a man that we may fight together. When Saul and all of Israel heard those words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. Now David was the son of Ephraim of Bethlehem, Judah, whose name was Jesse, and he had 8 sons. And the man went along among men for an old man in the days of Saul. And the 3 eldest sons of Jesse went and followed Saul into the battle. The names of his 3 sons that went into battle were Eliab, the firstborn. The next was Anibadad and Shammah. And David was the youngest, and the 3 eldest followed Saul. But David went and returned from Saul to feed his father's sheep at Bethlehem. And the Philistines drew near morning and evening and presented himself 40 days. 40 days again. Jesse said unto David his son, Take now for thy brethren an ephah of this parched corn and these 10 loaves, and run to the camp to thy brethren. Carry these 10 cheeses to the captain of their 1,000, and look how thy brethren fare, and take their pledge. Now Saul and they and all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah, fighting with the Philistines. And David rose up early in the morning and left the sheep with the keeper, took and went as Jesse has commanded him, and came to the trench as the host was going forth to fight, shouted for the battle. For Israel and Philistine had put the battle in array, army against army. David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper at the carriage and ran into the army and came to salute his brethren. As he talked with him, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistines of Gath, Goliath by name, out of armies of the Philistines, and spoke according the same words. And David heard them. And all the men of Israel went when they saw the men and fled from him, and they were afraid. The men of Israel said, Have ye seen this man come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that this man who killed him, and the king enriched him with great riches, will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. David spoke to the men that stood by him, saying, What shall be done to the man that killed the Philistine, and take away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine that should defy the armies of the living God? And the people answered after this manner, saying, So shall it be done to the man that killed him. You know something? I shouldn't laugh about this, but I am going to laugh about this. They're always so concerned about circumcised versus uncircumcised. So obviously Goliath is uncircumcised. I almost want to say, with somebody that big, could you imagine circumcising a giant? Sorry. That is just, for some reason, that is just an image that just popped in my head thinking about this, where it's like, who is this uncircumcised fool? It's like, oh man. I think Chris is going to appreciate that one. He really does. He's gonna be like, I'll be like, Chris, you lovely. We're talking about David and Goliath, and there's this image of Goliath. I'm sorry. Sarah's like, nope, nope, nope. He's like, sorry, Sarah. Okay, I don't know why that came in my head. All right, so Eliab, his eldest brother, heard when he spoke to the men, and Eliab's anger was kindled against David and said, why hast thou come here? And whom has left thee sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride and thy naughtiness of thy heart, for thou art come down to the mightiest to see the battle. And David said, what have I done? Is there not a cause? And he turned from him towards another and spoke the same manner. The people answered him again in the former manner. And when the words were heard which David spoke, they rehearsed them before Saul, and he sent for him. David said to Saul, let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine. And Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but the youth, and a man of war from his youth. And David said unto Saul, thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took the lamb out of the flock. And I went after him, and smote him, and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard, smote him again, and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be as one of them, seeing he had defied the armies of the living God. You know, it's interesting. I just want to say this. It's interesting that they're calling the Lord the living God. I think this is the first time they start calling him the living God. Hello, Alex. We're reading 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 36. This is literally the story of David and Goliath. So we're on the battlefield where David is just about to fight Goliath. So he's calling the Lord a living God, which is correct because remember, with everybody, their gods were the statues. They would make these statues out of gold, out of wood. They would throw things in the fire and they would come out as a statue. So their god wasn't living. Their god was an inanimate object that they called a god. So when David is saying, like, who is this Philistine? Who is this uncircumcised beast that is defiling the name of our living God? So that's why, like, he was angry. David said, moreover, the Lord had delivered me out of the paw of the lion and out of the paw of the bear. He will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine. And Saul said unto David, go, and the Lord will be with you. And Saul armed David with his armor, and he put on a helmet of brass upon his head, also armed him with a coat of mail. And David girded his sword upon his armor, and he essayed to go, for he had not proved it. And David said to Saul, I cannot go with these, for I have not proved them. And David put them off of him. So he took off all the armor. And he took his staff at his hand and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook and put him in a shepherd's bag, which he had, even in a scrip. And his sling was in his hand, and he drew near to the Philistine. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him. The Philistine looked about and saw David. He disdained him, for he was but a youth, and a ruddy and fair countenance. And the Philistine said unto David, am I a dog that thou comest at me with staves? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. The Philistine said to David, come to me, and I will give thy flesh unto the fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the field. Then said David to the Philistines, thou come to me with a sword, with a spear, and with a shield. But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defiled. Oh, interesting perspective. Good luck on your journey. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. This day will the Lord deliver thee unto mine hand, and I will smite thee and take thy hand from thee. I will give the carcasses of the host to the Philistine this day, and unto the fowls of the air, and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a God of Israel. Wow, this I have to say, this is actually powerful. Compared to how other stories of war, this one is a really, Yeah, this one hits home. And all the assembly shall know that the Lord saved not with the sword and spear, for the battle is the Lord's, and he will give you into our hands. And it came to pass when the Philistine arose, and he came to draw near, that David hasted. He ran toward the army to meet the Philistine. And David put his hand in his bag, took thence a stone, and slang it, and smote the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sunk into his forehead, and he fell upon his face to the earth. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone, and smote the Philistine and slew him. But there was no sword in the hand of David. Therefore David ran, stood upon the Philistine, took his sword, drew it out of the sheath, therefore, and slew him, and cut his head off. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. And the men of Israel and Judah arose and shouted and pursued the Philistines until thou came to the valley and the gates of Ekron. And the wounded of the Philistines fell down by the way of Shechem, even unto Gath and unto Ekron. And the children of Israel returned from chasing after the Philistines, so they spoiled their tents. They took the head of the Philistine and brought it to Jerusalem, but he put his armor in his tent. And when Saul saw David go forth against the Philistine, he said unto Abner, the captain of the host Abner, whose son is this youth? And Abner said, as thy soul live, O king, I cannot tell. And the king said, inquire thou whose son the stripling is. And David returned from the slaughter of the Philistines. Abner took him, brought him before Saul, with the head of the Philistines in his hand. And Saul said to him, whose son art thou, young man? And David answered, I am the son of the servant Jesse the Bethlehemite. Now that's a powerful image. I gotta say this. He's standing before the king with the head of of Goliath in his hand, standing there before the king because he just slew this giant. And the first thing they're like is, okay, who's your father? Like, who's your father? So we want to go for it. It's 11 o'clock. All right, I'm going to go one more chapter, then I'll probably end it here because obviously I have things to do. But this is getting good because, like I said, I just watched this on the King of David, the House of David. So watching the whole David and Goliath thing, and then it's kind of interesting. All right, chapter 18. It came to pass when he made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. And Saul took him that day and would let him go no more home to his father's house. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant because he loved him as his own soul. Okay, so this is interesting. So now it's like I think who's your father is more like who are you? Well, yeah, because you were your existence depending upon who your lineage was from, who's your father, what your town is from. But now this is interesting because he was the son of Jesse. But now it looks like that he's transferring it over to Jonathan. Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him and gave it to David, and his garments, even to his sword, to his bow, and to his girdle. And David went out wherever Saul sent him and behaved himself wisely. Saul sent him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants. And it came to pass that when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, that the woman came out of all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet the king Saul, with tabrets of joy and instruments of music. And the women answered one another as they played and said, Saul had slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands. Okay, no, Jonathan is Saul's son. Oh, is that what it is? Okay, they're like best friends. Oh, okay, I was misunderstanding. I thought they were saying that Jonathan is now becoming, so it was more of like a brotherly pact as opposed to taking on a child. All right, thank you for explaining that, because I'm like, wait a minute, why would... Okay, all right, so it wasn't a father-son thing, it was a brother pact. Okay, that makes more sense now. Thank you. And Saul was very wroth with the saying displeased him. They have ascribed to David 10,000, and to me have ascribed but thousands. But what can he have more but a kingdom? And Saul eyed David from the day forward. And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from God came upon Saul, and he prophesied in the midst of the house. And David played with his hand, and in other times there was a javelin in Saul's hands. And Saul cast a javelin, for he said, I will smite David even to the wall with it. And David avoided out of his presence twice. Saul was afraid of David, because the Lord was with him, and was departed from Saul. Therefore Saul removed him from him, and made him captain over 1,000. And he went out and came before the people. David behaved himself wisely in all ways, and the Lord was with him. Wherefore, when Saul saw that he behaved himself wisely, he was afraid of him. But all of Israel and Judah loved David, because he went out and came in before them. And Saul said to David, Behold, my elder daughter Merab, I will give thee to wife. Only be thou valiant for me, and fight the Lord's battles. For Saul said, Let not mine hand be upon him, but the hand of the Philistines be upon him. And David said unto Saul, Who am I? And what is my life for my father's family? Is Israel that I should be son-in-law to the king? But it came to pass at the time when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given to Adriel the Meholite to wife. And Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David, and they told Saul, and the thing pleased him. And Saul said, I will give him her, that she may be snare to him, and the hand of the Philistines may be against him. Wherefore Saul said to David, Thou shalt this day be my son-in-law in one of the twain. And Saul commanded his servants, saying, Commune with David secretly, and say, Behold, the king had delight in thee, and all the servants love thee. Now therefore be a king's son-in-law. Saul's servants spoke those words to the ears of David, and David said something to it, to be a king's son-in-law, seeing that I am a poor man and lightly esteemed. And the servant of Saul told him, saying, On this manner spoke David. And Saul said, Thus shall ye be David. The king desires not any dowry, but 100 foreskins of the Philistines to be avenged in killing the enemies. Okay, we're back to this. I want foreskins. Go out there and chop off foreskins. I'm forgetting what. Okay, there's a movie. Quentin Tarantino movie. Not Quentin. It was the Grindhouse. It was two of them. Part one was the alien one, and part two was the driving one. And in the first part, the army guy had a jar of foreskins that he collected. Well, I shouldn't say foreskins. It had testicles. So what he would do is he would go around chopping off the testicles of his enemies and putting it in his jar. So that's all I can think of right now, is where he's like, go out and avenge, go grab me foreskins. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to be good. Please. I'm not making fun of you, but this is funny. I'm sorry. Okay. But Saul thought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistines. And when his servants told David these words, it pleased David well enough to be the king's son-in-law, and the days were not expired. Wherefore David arose and went to his men and slew the Philistines 200 men. David brought their foreskins. Here you go. Oh, king, here's your foreskins. David brought their. I'm sorry. David brought their foreskins and gave them to the full tale to the king, that he might be the son-in-law. And Saul gave him Michal, his daughter, to wife. And Saul saw that he knew the Lord was with David, and that Michal, Saul's daughter, loved him. And Saul was yet more afraid of David, and Saul became David's enemy continually. Then the princes of the Philistines went forth, and it came to pass, after they went forth, that David behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was much set by. Either I missed something in David or they didn't mention this, but I do not remember a jar of foreskins in the movie. But I could have missed it because I think I did miss an episode because Chris ended up going ahead. But I have to ask Chris. I'm like, Chris, was there a jar of foreskins in the Oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's so bad. That really is bad. Like, oh, forgive me. I'm not making fun. Just forgive me on that one. Wow. All right, we're on chapter 19. I just want to see how far. We got a while. First Samuel, Second Samuel. Okay, so there's 30 chapters in First Samuel. And then in Second Samuel, there is a lot more. Oh, sorry. There's 30 chapters as well. 24 chapters. All right, so what I'm probably going to do, we just ended, we're going to start chapter 19 tomorrow. So tomorrow is episode 99. 2 more days and we're going to have our 100th episode. Episode 99 is tomorrow. We are going to do chapter 19 of First Samuel. And I want to thank everybody for coming in. And like I said, I know we had an interesting discussion. You know what? I think all the time when I start these and give my monologues, it always goes into an interesting path. Like sometimes I have a topic that I want to discuss, and other time it's more like an open floor. It's like, okay, let's just see where the conversation. And today was one of those things. It was let's see where the conversation devolved. I wish I knew which show was my first one. I wish I knew which. Oh, your first show? Aw. See, that was funny because I specifically, it's like, nope, I'm going to start episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. So yes, so we're on 98 today. Tomorrow is going to be episode 99. And then I guess Friday, which I'm not going to be here. No. Saturday. I'm wondering if I should make Monday my 100th show. Because this weekend, I know we're going to be doing a lot of things with the kids and stuff like that because the kids are coming over, which is actually exciting. Brianna's already here, so she's here for the week. So I think Monday I'm going to do the 100 show. I think that'll be it. But yeah, because tomorrow is Thursday, which will be episode 99. Friday, I'm going to be, like I said, I have to go to Oklahoma. Not looking forward to that, but... And then Saturday and Sunday, I probably won't be on. So Monday, we're going to have a party. I got to do like a big party. I'll get my balloon hat. I'll get like, hey, it's the 100 show. Everybody be here. So yeah, I think Monday we'll do the 100 show. Maybe I might do like a little event or something like that. Get the balloons out. Like, it's my 100 show. Yay. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do is, I know it's a little early, but this has been a good arrangement for me because although I love reading the Bible, I have to go for a brain scan. My doctor is concerned that maybe part of my issues might be that I may have had a mild stroke. So they want to do a special brain scan to see my brain activity as far as what's going on in my head. She's trying to tell me, she's like, look, this is just a like a precautionary sort of thing, but that might explain a lot of what's going on with some of my health issues. So worst case scenario, I mean, it's a diagnostic test. I mean, best case scenario, they find out what's going on. If nothing's going on, then that's good, but it's still, okay, they're knocking off, it's not this, it's not this, it's not this. But I am exhibiting some neurological issues that are coming out of nowhere. So I'm getting like tremor issues. I'm getting nerve issues and stuff like that. So we're trying, and this was the talk I had earlier, where I'm trying to get together my mind, my body, my spirit. And sometimes my body gets the best of me on the health end. but I'm trying my best. So, in fact, I think that's what they said when it comes to the military. The military avoids the word try. You never use the word try. It's always, I'm going to succeed. I'm going to be well. I'm not trying to be healthy. I am going to be healthy. So I got to change my mindset on that. I'm not going to try to exercise or eat healthy. I'm absolutely going to exercise and work out. And oh, thank you. No, I appreciate that. I think it's going to be okay. I'm more happy that this has been approved, that they can rule it out, if that makes any sense. Because, like I said, I feel like I'm having a battle with my insurance company because a lot of my issues, they're trying to say, well, you have no history of these issues, so you must not have issues. Well, just because I have a good history of health and all of a sudden I'm not having a good history of health, that obviously means something is wrong. So if they can at least try to, um, if they could try to diagnose that says, okay, it's not this, but that's what she just wants. And she even said, she's like, don't get concerned. We just want to roll it out because this could explain a couple of things as to why I'm having nerve issues, why I'm having pain, why am I. Exactly. Something happened. It's just because there's no history and there's no medical paper trail. Insurance sucks and doesn't want to do anything about it. So I'm glad that I got approval for this. And the only thing is, it's a MRI brain scan. I have to have an open MRI. So my choice is, okay, am I going to Dallas or am I going to Lawton? So I'm making a trip up to Oklahoma because it's a shorter trip for me to get to Oklahoma than it is for me to stay in my own state, which I think is ridiculous. So, but but thank you. That's going to be Friday. I will be here tomorrow, so everything should be okay tomorrow. Um, but yes, but Friday I definitely, because it's going to take me over an hour just to get to the doctor to begin with. Um, yeah, I had a choice. Do I take 3 hour trip to Dallas or do I take an hour trip up to Oklahoma? I'm like, something. I'll take the hour trip. So that's what I decided to do. I'm like, I might as well take the hour trip instead of a 3 hour trip. All right, guys, I am going to get to work. I got things that I need to do. Have a great day. Smile, be positive, stay faithful, stay loyal, stay true to yourself, and stay positive. That's the important thing. Have a great day, and I will see you guys soon. Take care. Ugh. Ow. Oh my God. Ow. Seriously, baby? on, Mimi. Move out of the way. Oh, did I forget to end it? I forgot to end my live again, guys. I'm sorry. Oh, why do I always forget to end my live? I'm sorry, guys. I just completely forgot to end it.